Turkey takes another step closer to Lebanese President Avn, highlighting Turkey's status as a regional power, stated that they rely on Ankara's diplomatic and logistical support in the implementation of the framework agreement signed with Israel and in the process of supporting the Lebanese army. Lebanese President Joseph Avn noted that relations with Turkey have strong potential to advance to a higher level of cooperation, saying, "Lebanon trusts in Turkey's capacity to contribute to the economic recovery process through investment, trade, and reconstruction." Speaking ahead of his official visit to Turkey tomorrow, President Avn offered important assessments regarding Turkey-Lebanon relations, regional developments, and the agreement processes reached with Israel. Coordination with Turkey is a strategic necessity in phasing the deep-rooted ties between the two countries. Avn explained that Lebanon-Turkey relations could be elevated to a higher level of cooperation, noting that Turkey is already a significant regional power with considerable influence. Avn said, "Coordination with Turkey is not a temporary preference for Lebanon, but a strategic necessity. Turkey can contribute to the success of the framework agreement," referring to Turkey's potential role in implementing the framework agreement signed with Israel in June. President Avn noted that Ankara could take on an important mission on the international stage thanks to its NATO membership and extensive regional relations, noting that broad regional and international support is needed for the framework to be implemented on the ground. Avn stated, "Turkey can contribute to the success of the framework agreement that emerged following the rounds of negotiations in Washington and Rome." Avn said they are committed to implementing the agreement signed in Washington and noted that this success is based on clear guarantees. Sharing details of these guarantees, Avn said, "Israel's full withdrawal from the territories it occupies in Lebanon must occur simultaneously with the deployment of the Lebanese army. Violations and attacks must cease entirely, and an effective international mechanism must be established to monitor whether both sides are fulfilling their obligations," calling on Turkey to provide political and diplomatic support for this process. Avn noted that such support would prevent the framework agreement from being inadequately implemented and would contribute to international initiatives aimed at preventing a security vacuum from forming in the south. "We are not asking Turkey to take the place of the Lebanese state," pointing to the contributions Turkey could make to Lebanon's sovereignty and stability. Avn emphasized that Ankara, as an effective regional power, possesses real tools of influence, highlighting the importance of providing support to the Lebanese state and its legitimate institutions, particularly the army. Avn stated, "We are not asking Turkey to take on a role that would replace the Lebanese state. On the contrary, we want Turkey to assume a supportive and complementary role that aligns with our efforts to ensure that arms are concentrated solely in the hands of the legitimate authority and to consolidate stability following years of war," explaining that Turkey could also contribute to monitoring Lebanon's eastern and northern borders and preventing arms smuggling and illegal crossings that threaten the country's security. Avn emphasized the importance of strengthening coordination between the two friendly countries. Turkey's experience in reconstruction should be harnessed, touching on Lebanon's recovery from the economic crises it has faced. President Avn stated that they have confidence in Turkey's capacity to contribute to the economic recovery process through investment, trade, and reconstruction. Emphasizing the need to encourage Turkish companies to make direct investments in Lebanon's manufacturing sectors. Avn said, "We need to activate existing trade agreements, alleviate the burden on Lebanon's struggling economy by removing logistical barriers to trade in goods, and draw on Turkey's extensive experience in the field of reconstruction." The Lebanese army is facing an existential test commenting on military cooperation between the two countries. Avn said that the Lebanese army needs multifaceted support to strengthen its deployment across the country and establish state authority. Avn noted that they would discuss expanding existing military support and training programs with Turkey, saying, "The Lebanese army is facing an existential test in terms of establishing state authority throughout the entire country. This requires modern equipment and gear, specialized training, and logistical support to enable its effective deployment to sensitive areas, particularly in the south. This deployment must also take place in tandem with Israel's full and simultaneous withdrawal, he said, recalling that Ankara had previously made it clear it was ready to contribute to strengthening the army's capabilities. Avn emphasized that any support from Turkey would be in addition to existing U.S. and international support, not a replacement for it, noting that discussions are ongoing regarding the possibility of Turkey's participation in a potential international force that could replace the United Nations interim force in Lebanon UNIFIL, whose mandate in the south of the country is set to expire at the end of the year. Avn stated, "From our perspective, the priority is to ensure that no security vacuum arises following the expiration of UNIFIL's mandate. Any proposal regarding an alternative force including Turkey's potential participation will be evaluated based on a single criterion: the extent to which it contributes to the Lebanese army establishing its authority nationwide and ensuring stability in the south," he said, explaining that Lebanon does not intend to exclude any serious partner from this process. Avn recalled that Turkey has made significant contributions to peacekeeping efforts in the south for years through its naval task force within UNIFIL. The concentration of weapons in the hands of the state is a matter of sovereignty. Responding to a question about how Hezbollah's rejection of any negotiation process with Israel would affect the ceasefire agreement, Avn stated that the scale of this challenge could not be underestimated and that a minimum level of internal consensus was necessary for success on the ground, noting that the Lebanese presidency and government are the only authorities constitutionally empowered to make decisions regarding sovereignty, security, and foreign relations. Avn stressed that continuous internal dialogue is necessary for the successful implementation of the ceasefire and the centralization of weapons under the state's monopoly, addressing claims that Syria could play a role in the disarmament of Hezbollah. Avn recalled that the Damascus government has repeatedly denied this, stressing that the matter falls entirely within Lebanon's sovereign authority. Avn stated, "The decision to centralize all weapons under the control of the Lebanese state is entirely a matter of Lebanon's sovereignty. This decision is made through internal dialogue conducted under the auspices of the presidency and through legitimate state institutions. There is no room for mediation or intervention by Syria or any other external party on this matter." Avn noted that during his meetings with Syrian President Ahmed Shara, he had emphasized that coordination between the two countries must be conducted on the basis of mutual respect for sovereignty. He added that statements or assessments attributing a broader role to Syria are merely media commentary and do not reflect an official position.